Welcome stylists, barbers, isties. You are now tuned into the I'm for Salons Content and Mindset podcast. A place where we break down the mindset and motivation it takes to grow your beauty business. Here's your host, 13-year marketer, world-traveling award-winning artist and musician, the brain behind the brand, Freddie D.
Thank you, everybody, for joining the podcast today. We have a very special guest all the way from New York, and she is going to talk to you about not only stuff related to salons, but also give you some insight and some mindset on real-world topics. Today, we have Vanessa Cardenas. Vanessa, please introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, Frederick, thank you so much. Absolutely love the concept of your podcast. Oh, it spoke to me the second I saw it. And I was like, I have got to get in touch with Frederick because he has to know my story. And my story is that I was betrayed after 20 years of marriage. 20 plus years of marriage. And I had 3 words said to me that I never, ever thought my husband, who I adored, we were high school sweethearts, that he would say to me, I've met someone, and my whole world completely shattered. It was like Thanos in the Avenger movie where he snapped his fingers and everybody went to dust. That's how I felt. I absolutely felt that way, and I descended into the darkness. Oh, I absolutely did. And one of the ways that I wanted to control the situation was related to my hair. And you think, wait a second, what? Yes. I went home, I grabbed my hair, I pulled it to the side. One side, I took a pair of scissors because my hair was halfway down my back. It was salt and pepper, and I had bangs. And I just grabbed a hold of my hair, took a pair of scissors, and cut it. Now, for those that are hairstylists, you know that that's the wrong thing to do. You absolutely don't pull it to one side and cut it from that side, because when you let it go, one side's higher than the other side. Yeah, but I wanted to control something. And the first thing that we control when trauma happens to us is something right then and there, something that we can pick up and just, some people take plates and smash them on the ground. Some people, drive really fast, road rage. I took it out on my hair. And when I went into the salon, who, my hairstylist had been cutting my hair, trimming my hair for decades. And she saw me, and her first reaction was like, what did you do? And that was the worst possible thing that she could say to me, because that's not what I needed to hear. I needed somebody to actually just hold me and provide a comfort and just say, I'm here to listen. And sometimes as hairstylists, yeah, you need to do that because you see it firsthand. You do. You see the ramifications. If your client walks in and says, I want something drastic, that means something drastic's going on in their life, whether it's good or bad, but something drastic's happening. And to invoke that empathy into the situation is really, really important. Very much so. So yes. So the first thing I did was cut it to my shoulders. Well, a little uneven to my shoulders. And then I dyed it brown. I had salt and pepper forever. That was my signature, salt and pepper. I still kept it on the sides. And then one more trauma, shaved off one side. Another trauma, shaved off the other side. Then had another trauma, added the pink. Yes, pink? Really? I'm a C-suite executive. I go into boardrooms and I've got shaved hair with pink in my hair. Yes, I own it. Very empowering.
There's a couple things that you said that I want to unpack because that was such a good introduction, and it leads us into our topics of why is that cutting the hair the natural response after a breakup or a bad situation? Because me too, I've been guilty of like, all right, okay, well, I'm gonna go get the freshest fade ever when my little high school girlfriend would break up with me or something like that. So let's talk about that, and then next we're going to talk into of how, as a hairstylist, they can see those key features of someone going through something, or you mentioned how they have a tragic breakup. But let's start with the why do you feel the cutting the hair is the natural response for the breakups and the trauma?
I think it's because it's instantaneous and it's something that we can control. When we have a situation where we want to better ourselves, yeah, theoretically we could go to the gym, but it's not like you could work out 6 hours and the next day suddenly you have a six pack and it's noticeable just like that.
Mhm,
Your hair and your features, yeah, that's instantaneous. You can change who you are
mhm,
by what you do with your hair because it's a characteristic of your face, and your
mhm,
face truly is the first thing that people see.
mhm,
They
mhm,
really do. They might see your body, but you can't change your body quickly enough.
mhm,
Whereas with your hair, you can change it really, really quickly. I mean, when women, especially when women go through a breakup, they tend to change their outfits.
mhm, mhm,
They might wear something a little bit more risque, just to get the attention of another man or their existing man. A
mhm,
man might suddenly, press his shirt and,
mhm, mhm,
make himself a little bit more presentable so that he can attract other women or he can attract his existing woman. Like,
mhm,
see what you're missing type of
mhm,
thing. Because when we are involved in a relationship for a long period of time, we become complacent. We just do. We lose sight of that date night, that intoxication of who you're with, that you don't see anybody else because look who you're with. And when we go through a breakup or we go through a trauma, we want to be seen again. We want something drastic.
mhm. Okay, I love that answer. I love that answer. And something that else, that second part that I want to talk about, what are those signs that your customer could be going through it? Like,
Definitely if they come in and they have done something to their hair.
mhm,
And we as novice, we're not skilled at cutting our own hair. We truly aren't. We're also not skilled at coloring our own hair. That's why stylists are just so valued because they make us feel beautiful. They do. When we walk into the salon, we feel one way. And the goal of any hairstylist is to make their client feel beautiful.
mhm,
And when they're successful at that, and women and men walk out and they just feel empowered.
mhm,
Oh, as stylists, you have such control over that. So what are the signs? What do you see when your client comes to you or somebody brand new? Let's say it's not even your existing client, it's somebody new that walks in and says, "Hi, I want this." And if it's drastic, we always have to adhere to what the client wants. There are tactics in terms of that hairstyle might not look good on you. There's a different way of saying that, of course, but what we're talking about is recognizing something's happened.
mhm,
And sometimes all it takes is just an empathy statement, not a sympathy statement. And they are
mhm,
different. Sympathy puts a person still within their story. They almost start to crave that sympathy. They live in their story of what is causing them so much pain. Whereas empathy is more of a connection. I see you,
mhm,
I hear you, I feel you. Oh, that must be very challenging to
mhm,
go through. And sometimes it just takes that to allow the client to just open up and start talking.
mhm,
Some clients won't talk. They won't. They'll turtle in because they're in so much pain.
mhm,
And sometimes it's just a touch. It's a touch on the shoulder.
mhm,
I've got you. Let's make you beautiful. Let's do something that just makes you feel so
mhm.
much better.
I love that
And
answer.
oh,
Because it's sometimes the hairstylists, I don't know if they know the true value of what they offer to people. Because, like you said, it's you're not only giving them the makeover, but you are giving them that sense of, I don't want to say validation, but it's like you're making them be seen. for who they want to be seen as, or making them understand who they truly are at the end of the day. Because sometimes I feel like we lose sight of that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very, very much so. And when somebody's going through trauma, they don't feel seen or heard or valued. And you as a stylist, you have an opportunity. Ah, look how this cut resonates against your face. Ah, it brings out your high cheekbones. It brings out, the pop in your eye color.
Hmm.
There's so many ways of making another person feel so much better. And you have that power in your hands. And sometimes it's your hands that are the healing in terms of just caressing and brushing and running your fingers through, because we also lose sight of touch.
Hmm.
And when we went through COVID, yeah,
Yeah.
everybody was 6 feet apart from each other. Nobody wanted to touch each other. Heaven forbid you heard a cough anywhere around you. I mean, you jumped out of your skin to get away, type of
Hmm.
thing. And now we're back to being, responsible, still responsible, but we can touch one another. We can fist pump one another. We can handshake one another. Somebody we know a little better, we can give a hug. We can give a, way to go. Nice to see you. Touch is so valuable. And as a hairstylist, oh my God, you get to touch this. Oh,
Hmm.
it feels so good. That's why even the shampoo, the first person that you see when you go into a salon and they're going to shampoo your hair, that's such a valuable role.
Yeah.
You're right there, you're touching and you're caressing, and you're bringing the person into ease. You're
Hmm.
connecting their mind and their heart, the way that they feel with the
Hmm.
way that they're thinking. You have that power to connect that. And it
Hmm.
just takes a few words. It truly, truly does. Oh, you have the most beautiful thick hair.
Hmm.
And just like that, somebody steps out of their anguish and into who they are.
It's the power of the words, but it's the power of what you're doing for the people. I
Mhm.
I have one question that I feel like comes up all the time whenever I'm working with my hairstylist client is the one betrayal that I hear from most hairstylists is when you come into work and you see that customer in someone else's chair. So I want to discuss with you about that betrayal and hear your thoughts on that and how hairstylists can uh, get past that and move on with what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a really, really tough one. It absolutely is, because you feel betrayed not only by your colleague, but you feel betrayed by your client. And
Hmm.
and that hits right here. My best suggestion right out of the gate is to take a deep breath and to
Hmm.
pause and to take a moment and realize what's in the best interest of the client.
Hmm.
What does the client need? Maybe they need to mix it up and have somebody else to see somebody else. Sometimes they want to explore, is the grass actually greener on the other side?
Hmm.
Type of thing. Maybe it's a thing where they needed something instantaneous. We talked about that instantaneous
Hmm.
change because something's going on and you weren't there, and they turn to somebody else. And it's as easy as walking up and going, oh, Mrs. Smith, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Oh, Angela's a great hairstylist. And
Hmm.
almost complimenting your quote competitor, because you want to be a collaborator, not a competition. And say, oh, Angie does a really, really great job. I hope that you like the end results. I look forward to seeing you again, and
Hmm.
leave it at that. It's almost enough said to get your point across to your client without causing any shame or guilt, because your client might say, I really needed something done right now. I hope it's okay. She was available. I'm glad you're here. I'll see
Hmm.
you next time. That could be a possibility. Then there's also Angie. We're referring to Angie, the other hairstylist,
Hmm.
and pulling Angie aside and saying, hey, well, what's going on? You know, type of thing, in a nice kind of way. Oh, I appreciate you being available for Mrs. Smith. I hope that she's happy with the results. And you take it from a position of what the client needed right at that moment. Because when it all comes back, we're in the service industry. Who do we serve? Our clients. And sometimes we're not the best person for the client at that given moment in time. And we are gracious about it. And it comes back to us tenfold. It absolutely does when you're patient enough to recognize that it will. But if you become petty about it and you confront your client, why is Angie cutting your hair? Suddenly the experience that your client's trying to have is washed away because you're angry. And you have the right to be angry. I'm not diminishing that. Please don't misunderstand me. You have the right to feel that instant, oh, wait a second, why is my client in Angie's chair? And go from there.
One thing that you just mentioned, this is a side question, but something you mentioned was community over competition. I don't feel like that's talked about enough. And if you had something to add to that, I would love for the community to hear of why community is better than having that competition and not feeling some type of way towards that decision.
Think of it this way. We go back to the client. This is all about the client experience. When the client has an experience, what do? One, hopefully they tip better. Okay, that's first and foremost. Two, they come back. Three, they refer others. They have such an amazing experience and they walk out of the salon feeling like $1,000,000. And what's the first thing they do? They go out, they go this, they go that. They have this energy about them that just screams, I feel good. And what do other people do? Hey, you look great. What happened? Oh, I went to the salon today. I went to the salon XYZ. Oh my God, they were great. That's what we want. We want those referrals. So let's go back to the situation of your client in Angie's chair. You're angry. You put on that energy of angry. Now Angie's got her dander up as well. Like, I'm doing your client kind of thing. And then the client's feeling all that tension. What happens? The client doesn't tip as well. The client doesn't feel good. The client immediately starts telling other people how she doesn't feel good. Oh, I can't believe these two hairstylists like got into it. Even though they didn't really say any words to each other, I could feel that they were angry at each other. Do you really want that in your salon? No. You want your salon to be the place to be, that on a Tuesday when most people don't get their hair done, that your place is packed. Why? Because you bring in the clients and the experience that they feel, and it's a collaboration, it's a community that everybody helps each other out, that there's no, this is mine, that's yours kind of thing. And the beauty of it is the client gets that experience. And that's what we want. We want the client to have an experience. So they do the three things. They tip well, they leave as $1,000,000, and they refer you. Referrals are so important in any industry, but especially in the hair salon industry. You want those clients to refer you. You want them to go on Instagram and take that selfie. I just got my hair done at X, Y, and Z. I have experienced a wonderful salon that did my hair that had me stand in, are you going to post that you just got your hair? Yeah, I'll get to that. Oh, we have a wall that you could use. And the wall, what did the wall have? It had their URLs on it. Oh my God, that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Here I am taking a selfie, posting it on mine, but in the background, it has all of theirs. That's
Smart
what we
marketing.
want. And what is that? What does that translate to? Ching, 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 ching. More money, more money, more money. Why? Because you cooperated, because the community that you put together, the collaboration that you put together. You and Angie are making tons of money. Doesn't matter which one's serving the client. You're both serving the client. Oh,
What an amazing answer to that. So I gotta ask you, you're very motivational. You got me over here. I got chills on my arms. I gotta ask you, Is there a quote that inspires you in this life, and why does
Oh,
it resonate with you so deeply?
mm. The quote that inspires me is Viktor Frankl. He was a prisoner in a concentration camp. Odd, very, very odd. And I read his book as I was going through Betrayal. It's a hard book to read, but one quote that jumped out at me, it was as if it was pulsating on the page. And it says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves.
I love that. I've never heard that quote before.
Yeah.
So who'd you say? I'm gonna look that one up. Who'd you say was that?
Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl. Okay.
Yes, yes. His book, Man's Search for Meaning.
Okay. Okay.
And it was
It's
brilliant. And it was exactly what I needed at the moment when I realized I'm not able to change my betrayal. I'm not able to change that situation. My husband's actions were his actions. I can't change those actions. So I'm challenged to change myself. How do I react to it? Rather, how do I respond to it rather than react to it? Because, oh boy, I turned into a Karen. I completely lost my mind. But here we are years and years later, and I dare to say I'm better for the experience. I truly, truly am. And I stepped into who I am. And the good news, there's no more trauma. I haven't changed my hair in years. Yes, I go into the salon. I'm like, okay, shave this,
Mhm.
color that, touch up the color there, and that's it. And there's no more trauma. And actually, it's my hair salon specifically that I'm so proud of because I shared what I've shared with your audience with them to, because I one time walked in there and they were empty. And I'm like, what's going on? Where
Mhm.
is everybody? And they were like, we don't know. Business has slacked off. And we sat for an hour. I had like an hour tutorial with them of all the various things that they could do. And I used the example of the wall, put
Mhm.
wall with all your tags on them and make it an experience. It doesn't cost a lot of money to have tea and coffee there ready for the client. It doesn't cost anything for the receptionist to say, good morning, Mrs. Cardenas. So nice to see you. You're here for Angie or you're here for whoever, just that little personal touch, because the most beautiful word in the English language or any language is somebody's name,
Mhm.
because they feel seen, they feel heard. And then the next ones, if you want to go like 2.0 in customer service, asking about their children by name. Ooh, that's ching ching money. That's absolutely ching ching money because they feel seen and heard. And when people feel seen and heard, yeah.
I want to ask, I know you just touched on it, but I want to ask a little bit deeper of like, how do you recognize those personal touches, and how do like should stylists be taking a journal of their customer notes? Should they be putting it right next to where the customers, you know, the color that the customer usually gets every day? How do they keep track of all of those things to make sure they're giving that top-notch customer service and getting referrals at the end? Because, like you said, referrals are so much of value, but sometimes people don't know even where to start. But I know a great way of starting to get referrals, remembering names. So, how can we systematize that so our community can start utilizing that?
Very, very good question. Right out of the gate, stylists, yeah, keep a journal. It doesn't take a lot of work. And we're not talking about keeping lots and lots of details. Not at all. As I said, first thing is the name. And
Mhm.
talking to the receptionist at the front and saying, hey, listen, these are the people that are coming in for me today. I want to make sure that when you see them, you recognize them. And here they are, here's all of them. And if you get fortunate enough to take a photograph, a before and after, or just an after, then catalog that as well so that you can help the woman at the front, or the receptionist at the front when somebody walks in.
Mhm.
Oh, so nice to see you, Mrs. Cardenas. Oh, it goes such a long way. You were expecting me. You were looking forward to me. can I offer you a tea or a coffee or a water while you wait? Just these little itty bitty touches. But you as a stylist, you are your own entity. Come up with your own tracking system. That's the best that I can offer right out of the gate.
Okay, so my next question for you is what's next on your agenda? Like you're a very motivational person. Do you have a book on the horizon? Do you currently already have a book? And where can people learn more about what you're doing?
Great question. Yes, I have 2 books that I did last year. Again, labor of love for me. It wasn't an academic or commercial thing for me. I just wanted to be able to give out wisdom. I wanted to be able to have something that people could hold on to related to betrayal. So it does relate to betrayal. My goals for 2024 is obviously more podcasts because Frederick, you're awesome. And I love the idea of your podcast. I love the podcasts that aren't your typical podcasts that really have something to offer to people listening to them, not this, sales pitch for 20 minutes type of thing. Oh, I absolutely adore it. So for 2024, I want to be on more podcasts. I also like to be on stage. I've had the distinct honor and privilege of being on stage as a fill-in guest because I offered it locally in New York that, hey, I'm here. If you need a speaker last minute, I'm your girl. I can do it. And I've had that opportunity, but I would like to be on stage where I've already been promoted, that people know that I'm going to be speaking about a topic related to betrayal.
Okay. And where can we learn more about what you're doing?
My website is understandingear.com. It comes from a Stephen King quote. Oh, and every time I say it to people, they're like, Stephen King, the horror novelist? Really? And I'm like, yes, because one of his novels start with a quote. It's a very long quote. I condense it. It says, the hardest things to say are the most important things to say, not for the want of a teller, but for the want of an understanding ear. And I want to be that understanding ear for those that are going through betrayal or going through some sort of angst that they need a little help with. And that's what I do. And I love it. I absolutely adore it. So by day, I'm a C-suite executive, but by night and weekends, I'm unleashed and I'm ready to go.
I love it. I love it. So to wrap up your segment, because you gave us so much knowledge to think about, we might have to have you back on the show again a little later to follow up on some things, but we want to ask, do you have any motivating words or encouraging words for our listeners at home to send them off with?
I love it. Be you. Just be you. Pause, breathe, and tell the people around you that you've got them. There's something about this. I've got you. I've got you. Oh, it goes such a long way. And just be you, because you are absolutely amazing.
Thank you so, so much, Vanessa, for taking the time out of your busy day to speak to our community. We value it more than you know, and you absolutely rocked that interview. So thank you. And everybody, please look forward to the next episode. We might be able to get her to come back on if everybody asks for it. So please tune in for the next episode. And once again, Vanessa, thank you.
My honor.
Hey there. Are you tired of spending countless hours creating content with no tangible results? Have you had enough of watching your ad dollars go down the drain? Are you left scratching your head, wondering what to do after taking that perfect snapshot? Well, listen up. We have some exciting news for you. The team at I'm for Salons is rolling out a special offer exclusively for our podcast listeners. Guess what? We're offering you free access to our course community. Yes, you heard it right, absolutely FREE. This typically costs $200 per year, but we believe in empowering you with the right tools and knowledge. It's simple. Use the code FREE2023 to gain free access. Just head over to our website, log in, and introduce yourself. We're all about sharing daily content tips, tricks, and growth techniques. So why wait? Let's kickstart your journey to success together. Your time to shine is now.
Thank you for tuning into the Content and Mindset podcast brought to you by the dedicated team at I'm for Salons LLC. Make sure to follow us on socials at I'm for Salons or on the web at imforsalons.com. Stay motivated, friends. See you next episode.